Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Israel Adesanya's coach Eugene Bareman insists they plan to solve the problem that Alex Pereira presents this weekend at UFC 287. During a recent interview, Bareman had this to say about the fight.
It's a very intriguing fight. When you think about that side of it, that's the part that kind of gets you, or gets me and the coaches excited, is seeing if we can come up with something, if we can impose a strategy or come up with some tactics that can best their strategy and tactics, their team, and Alex's, what Alex is going to impose. It's just a saying, it's like it's a problem, and we're just problem solving, and we get a kick out of whether we're able to solve those problems or not. That's the exciting part.
Michael Bisping discusses recent comments made by Israel Adesanya. Last week, Adesanya claimed that the fight against Pereira this weekend is his last shot. Here's what Bisping had to say.
But also at the same time, there is a lot riding on it. There's legacy for Israel Adesanya. I think when he says this is my last shot, I think he means not his last shot at ever being the champ again, or his last shot of being the UFC, superstar. It means last shot in beating Alex Pereira, who has been the bogeyman of his career. He has been the kryptonite, and this will be his fourth time. You know what I mean? And you lose 4 times in a row. You lose 2 times in a row in the UFC as well. You're not going to get that third shot. The rubber match, you have to win 1 apiece. No, I think it's more like, I've got to beat him this time. Otherwise, as DC said when he lost to John Jones the second time by a head kick, which is one of the most brutally honest moments, especially from a guy that was just knocked out, unconscious. And they always say you shouldn't interview the people that have been knocked out. Mm-hmm. And he was like crying. He said, I think Rogan mentioned something about a rivalry. And DC, whilst fighting back tears and some were escaping his eyes, said, there is no rivalry. There is no rivalry. This man has beaten me multiple times, something like that. So I think that's his point.
Dustin Poirier reveals he would have coached on this year's Ultimate Fighter if he had gotten the call.
If you're in Conor's head right now, is a rematch with Dustin Poirier a fight that you think he still wants to have, or is he finished with that?
I don't know. They definitely didn't ask me to coach the Ultimate Fighter against him, I'll tell you that. But
were you thrown off? Were you upset by that?
No, it is what it is. They want to, I just beat the guy 2 times in a row. They want a different matchup maybe, or a more winnable fight. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Would you have done it if they called you?
If they'd have called me to coach against Conor, I would have took it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you wanted the fight, or because coaching is that interesting to you, or a combination?
A combination, put the nail in the coffin.
Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welch give their take on the fight between Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns that's set to go down this weekend at UFC 287. Here's the clip.
We got Gilbert Burns, Masvidal, another sweet one, dude. It sucks it's only 3 rounds. Yeah. It almost makes it exciting, though.
Yeah. God, Masvidal keeps it standing. You think he's got it then in the bag?
It's hard to say. I mean, you look at Kamaru versus Jorge, you think the same thing. Like, you have to keep it standing. You got knocked out.
And then you watch Jorge versus Colby, and it's like he said he had an off night. What if he has another off night?
Yeah.
It's just like, is he on that night or is he off that night?
I feel like Gilbert's coming to fight. He also got dropped from a jab, though, from Kamaru. Boom. Which, who knows? He also dropped Kamaru. He's confident in the hands. His jiu-jitsu is next level.
Yeah, Jorge's got so many tricks on his feet too, but it's going to come down to, can he just negate the wrestling?
Yeah, I think he's going to get subbed.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Taking it back or what?
Or passing his guard, head and arm choking him, similar to Neil Magny.
Something like that. After that last fight.
Yeah. First round. I think it's first round sub.
No, no way. That would be insane, I don't think so.
I do think Gilbert's going to come out fast, and Jorge kind of likes... I think if Jorge matches that pace,
yeah.
But if not, Jorge...
You think Gilbert's going to go pedal to the metal for 15 minutes?
Yeah, you did with Hamzat.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, he did with Hamzat, didn't he?
Big John and Josh from the Weighing In podcast give their take on the recently announced 5-round headliner in June between Ilia Topuria and Josh Emmett.
I think Topuria will threaten some takedowns, and I think Josh will have to figure out how to stop that calf kick, because Topuria will get after the leg. And it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. I think I see someone either getting knocked out, or I see someone just getting knocked out. I don't think this fight goes the distance. I don't think this fight goes the distance. Someone's going to get finished. Nope. Good fight, though. I'm pumped for it.
Well, the best part is it says main event, meaning that's a 5-round fight. It's not
perfect. Perfect.
Jon and Josh also go on to jokingly claim that Daniel Cormier is stealing their content ideas.
Have you been talking to Cormier?
About what?
Well, he's using your lines because hindsight's 50-50 now, according to Dan Cormier.
That son of a... Oh, that guy, he did. He said that.
Oh,
what
dude.
a guy, man. He said hindsight's 50-50, so I know he's been listening to our show because I'm the only idiot that says that dumb line. And, you know, and then on top of that, like when we started our 5 rounds main event show, he came out and started his 3-round show. 3-round main event show or whatever it was called. I'm like, D, why you keep stealing our man? Why? I don't get it.
Because it's easier than coming up with your own.
Aljamain Sterling gives his take on this weekend's main event between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. This is what Sterling had to say.
I think Izzy is going to be smart enough to know if I eat the clock, I push him against the cage, I beat him up, chip away, and I don't give him space to chop away at my legs. I don't give him space to throw that left hook. How does he win? How does he win?
Also, if you frustrate him, like that'll definitely frustrate Pereira.
Who's faster?
I just don't know if he'll get emotional. Like if he'll start throwing caution to the wind and give Izzy an opening.
This is a good fight,
It is, man.
It's a really good fight. I'm pulling for Izzy because I actually met him. I don't know Alex Polton. I'm sure Pereira is a really good dude. He has a great, amazing story. For him to come and do what he's done in MMA,
crazy.
It's very inspiring for anyone. And even though his technique is very like odd, like he punches from his waist, his hands are always down, but it doesn't matter if he hits you and puts it on your chin. You're going to sleep, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, he's super scary.
You know, that's a really scary dude. I respect both of them, but you know, Izzy's my guy. I just want to see him get back on top, and I just don't want to see him go 0-4. That's really what it comes down to. I can't let this man go 0-4.
I'm honestly, at first I thought I wasn't rooting for Izzy, but like when you said no man in the UFC history has ever come back in an immediate title rematch and won. Izzy's like hype is like on the line here. Like his like status in MMA is definitely on the line.
Yeah.
If he loses, he's probably going to be a guy that they try to use to make other guys look good.
Jon Anik and Ray Longo discuss concerns about Jorge Masvidal being able to still compete at the highest level despite having a massive amount of distractions. They mention the pending court case with Colby Covington, as well as the Game Bred fight promotion, as reasons that Jorge doesn't seem dialed in for the fight against Gilbert Burns this Saturday at UFC 287. Because of this, Longo thinks Burns will walk away with the victory.
He's got the court case with Colby, right? Is that still a thing? Or
yes.
There's a million things going on, man. You can't have your brain in 15 different places. So not for a technical reason, but for that reason, I'm going to pick Burns on that fight.
And it's interesting to hear you inject that into the conversation because I think Jorge will be dismissive of that when we talk about that in the fighter meeting, but you're right. It's energy expenditure. Even doing a social media post for Game Bred Boxing. Kenny and I can attest to this. If you don't get it on the first take, right? All of a sudden you're 5 takes in, this is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook and you're bleeding out your lungs and everything else, it's a difficult thing to manage your energy during fight week, never mind over those 8 weeks. Now, he lives somewhat of a rock star lifestyle and seemingly in South Florida, everybody wants a piece of him all the time. So perhaps he's more conditioned to that than your average UFC athlete. But I think you're wise to sort of bring that into your handicap,
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a natural born fighter, but that's a kid that I believe came from nothing. You know what I mean? And then when you have something has to change, man. It's hard to keep that focus and that desire and that, just to get in the gym and grind it out every day. And sometimes your brain is saying it, but and you might believe it, but people around you might go, you're not doing what you used to do.
Eddie Hearn believes the story of Francis Ngannou should be made into a movie. During an interview with Ariel Helwani, this is what Eddie had to say.
I had lunch with Francis Ngannou there. I mean, I was completely gobsmacked by the story of this man. We sat for 2 hours and I was just listening to just the most remarkable, how this isn't a film, I have no idea. I mean, unbelievable. I'm sitting there, I'd like to feel like I'm far from naive, but I'm sort of asking, well, how did you get from there to there? And we just did this, we lived in a forest for 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm thinking, please let me go to Hollywood now with you and sell this film. People need to be educated about what that man has been through, and the story to get to where he's got to. I found him fascinating. Lovely guy.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.